So here in the Donald Cemetery, and we previously featured those who lost their lives on Titanic. We've called it their family headstones, where they are commemorated. So the vast majority of the victims of Titanic have no known final resting place. Certainly, very few, if any, in Ireland. In other words, the majority of the bodies that were recovered were interred in Halifax, Nova Scotia. Because she was built here, there are a number of family memorials, particularly in Belfast, where people are commemorated. So these days, Titanic Belfast opened in 2012 on the centenary of Titanic's loss. It's one of the world's leading tourist attractions. But I think it's a shame that we have forgotten, however, those local men and women who survived Titanic, and two of them are buried here. So we'll visit their final resting places. Behind this tree then, you can see quite a grand grave. There's a little urn there with the word Haggan on it, Haggan. And then just above that, it says the family burying ground of Edward Haggan, 1921. Now that gives you no indication of other family members who are buried in this plot here. But amongst the Haggan family members is a man called Johnnie Haggan. Haggan family, they lived in Thorndyke Street. Johnnie himself, he was in the army. He was on duty at the time of Queen Victoria's burial. And then he went on to work as a fireman, a stoker for White Star Line. And he was on board Titanic on her maiden and only voyage. He managed to escape the sinking vessel, which is no mean feat when you consider that so many of the firemen or stokers, they went down with the ship. Johnnie, he was able to cling on to an upturned lifeboat and then was eventually rescued. So he returned to Belfast. I worked in Belfast for a number of years, still living in Thorndyke Street. When he died then, many years later, he was buried in this family plot here in Dundonald. But again, you get no idea that buried here is a man who survived Titanic just from looking at this plaque. So we'll go and search then of another survivor of Titanic, a lady called Mary Sloan Gleason.